Hello and welcome everyone to today's Tech Talk on Enable Inventory Visibility Service for Dynamics 365 Commerce. My name is Hiren Nayak and I will be moderating this session. We are broadcasting this session through Microsoft Teams Town Hall. This session is being recorded on behalf of Microsoft Corporation. When you join this event, your name and email address may be viewable by the organizers. By joining, you are agreeing to this experience. If you have questions for presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. If you wish your name not to be visible to organizers or other participants, please post your questions anonymously. Our presenters will be responding to your questions throughout the session and at the end of the presentation. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. To present today's sessions, I am being joined by my colleagues, Yufei Huang, Senior Product Manager, and Rob Bertram, Principal Solution Architect. With that, let's get started. So we have done a series of tech talks on inventory visibility service for Dynamics 365 supply chain management. So if you have not looked at those, I highly encourage you to go and look at these tech talks to get more understanding about the inventory visibility service, how it works, what all capability it provides, and things like that. So highly, we have put the link on this presentation as well. So we'll share this presentation so you will get all the Tech Talks link through this presentation. But today's Tech Talk, our focus would be on considering different business scenarios of the inventory visibility solutions with the Dynamics 365 Commerce. Then I will discuss a little bit about the architecture, how it works. We'll also discuss the different configuration you need to do. And that will go into the bit of a use cases, what all different use cases we have seen with our customers, commerce customers specifically, and how you can leverage the inventory visibility service solution. We have a demo as well, short demo to kind of showcase you how inventory visibility service natively get integrated with POS and things like that. And in the end, we'll share some resources as well as we will have a live session for Q&A. I will now hand it over to Rob to discuss about some of the business scenarios where you can leverage the inventory visibility service solution for Dynamics 365 Commerce. Rob, over to you.
Thank you, Hiren. Before we dive into the features and capabilities of the inventory visibility service for Dynamics 365 Commerce, I want to cover some industry trends for organizations with product-centric businesses, with a product-centric business who use order-to-cash process. Modern online shopping experience have raised the bar for selling and purchasing. Every organization in the supply chain for an order-to-cash process are impacted, not just the end retailer, but everyone in there who works with them as business partners, suppliers, 3PLs. All of them are impacted by this change. As a personal shopper, the convenience and responsiveness of online stores are now ubiquitous. We are accustomed to immediate access to a vast amount of information. For example, we expect to know some of the following. If an item is in stock, where, at what local store, how many items are available, when can it be shipped, and how much will it cost based off of all the different delivery options. If I want it delivered now, if I want it delivered tomorrow, what exactly will that cost, and how quickly can I get it? These personal experiences are shaping our professional purchasing expectations. So let's break this down to what that means for everyone in the supply chain. The expectation of immediate access to, sorry, I skipped the slide. The expectation of immediate access to information is focused on two areas: product information and inventory visibility.
Rob, I think it's going back to the slide 7.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about the other slide first, and we'll get back to that. So there's an expectation of immediate access to information, and it's focused primarily across both inventory visibility as well as commerce in the supply chain. With inventory visibility, our modern order-to-cash process needs a single view of inventory. All supply chain and demand signals need to be unified and update in real time as sales orders are created, as purchase orders and transfer orders are received, and as fulfillment orders are issued. This information needs to flow between applications as well as business partners. On the order-to-cash side, Dynamics 365 Commerce is our recommended solution for product-centric selling, especially high-volume transactions. It is tightly integrated across the finance and supply chain management applications and provides a comprehensive omni-channel selling experience. The Commerce Scale Unit, also called the CSU, is a scalable microservice that is part of the Dynamics 365 Commerce technology stack. The Commerce Scale Unit is a microservice that allows organizations to surface product information to their customers and business partners in real time without impacting workloads running on the ERP. The Commerce Scale Unit can leverage the power of Inventory Visibility Service. In the next section, herein we'll dive into the architecture behind the tight integration behind the Commerce Scale Unit and Inventory Visibility.
Thank you, Rob. Let's dive into a little bit of architecture, how inventory visibility service is leveraged along with the Dynamics 365 Commerce, and how you can leverage the different capabilities of inventory visibility solution on your e-commerce as well as point of sale solutions. So if you look at this architecture, in the middle, we have the inventory visibility service microservice. If you're not familiar, I highly encourage you to kind of look at those tech talks, which I just mentioned in the beginning, to learn all about inventory visibility service. But at a very high level, inventory visibility service is a microservice. It's a highly scalable microservice. It caters and it stores the inventory on-hand information from your headquarters or back office or Dynamics 365 SCM into in-memory cache, and basically it provides a set of APIs to view the inventory or adjust the inventory from various first-party and third-party applications. So on the left, what you see is Dynamics 365 SCM. You would also recognize it as HQ or back office. So we have an out-of-box integration between HQ and inventory visibility service, where all of the HQ on-hand information get sync into inventory visibility service in near real time. So this is a capability which is out of the box. You don't have to configure, you don't have to kind of do any integrations. This integration is out of the box. What you have on the right hand side is our CSU, or you could say channel database. So now CSU provides set of APIs, and you can have a source, you can define a source that you would like to check for on hand or adjust the on hand of inventory directly into the inventory visibility service. So CSU provide a set of API if you configure a data source to be inventory visibility service, and you can basically call those APIs to get the inventory on hand or adjust the inventory on hand. And then the regular CSU APIs are available for order creation, checkouts, order syncs, synchronous orders, or synchronous orders with the back office, where the order gets synced into the Dynamics 365 SCM. And then it also does the offsetting of inventory and things like that back to inventory visibility service. So all of this process flow is kind of built in with this solution. Apart from that, you can have multiple channels of orders as well, not just from CSU, e-commerce, or POS. You might have a third-party application which you can directly integrate with inventory visibility service and also update and get the inventory on hand directly from inventory visibility service. Or you might be having call center which are directly integrated with your back office, and you might be getting orders from there. So you also have a ability within back office itself to check the inventory on hand from inventory visibility service. So out of the box, inventory visibility service caters multiple scenarios for order creations, order fulfillment, and to get the accurate view of inventory across different channels when the orders are being received. So key features I wanted to highlight of this solution of inventory visibility service along with the D365 commerce is that you can out of the box, it provides an ability to configure a data source for Dynamics 365 commerce solution. And this data source would be inventory visibility service. On top of that, it provides real-time omni-channel inventory, meaning that you can have a real-time check of inventory on hand across products and variants across different dimensions. At the same time, you can also do the inventory adjustments as you receive orders, as you reserve orders, and when you want to kind of fulfill those orders. In addition to that, it also provides extensibility and customizations as well. So in case you have multiple sources of inventory coming from multiple channels and things like that, and you always want to get accurate view of inventory, it provides easy way of extending the additional data sources, additional measures, and all will be taken into consideration when you use the CSU API for inventory on hand checks or when you are adjusting the inventory. So there are APIs available. There are ways to configure the data sources. There are ways to configure the physical measures and calculated measures to arrive at the right inventory. Yufei will discuss later in the presentation in detail about how you can basically create different data sources and different measures to kind of cater your business requirements. So now that we have looked at the high level architecture and what are different pieces of the puzzle, let's look at what are the configurations you need in order for this solution to work, right? So very first thing is that you will have to install the inventory visibility service on Dynamics 365 Commerce. What it does is basically it is going to create uh, integration between your back office and inventory visibility service. Once you install the inventory visibility service, then you can go into the back office and you will have to enable these features. The features which you see in the screenshot, the first feature is inventory visibility integration. Then you will have to enable the enable warehouse items in the inventory visibility. So first feature itself is basically is for to integrate your back office and sync all of the inventory data from back office to inventory visibility service. Second feature allows you to enable for warehouse items. So if you have a advanced warehouse management and if you are using warehouse items, those items and those inventory will also be synced from back office to inventory visibility service. And then these two features, inventory adjustment and inventory adjustment posting, those are needed for offsetting some of the inventory which you will be adjusting at the time of order receiving process and things like that. Obviously, the second screenshot is where you basically set up the endpoints for the integrations, and we have provided a link how to do this configuration, as well as we have covered this part, how to install and how to configure inventory visibility service in back office in detail as part of our first tech talk, which I mentioned earlier. So once you have configured, installed the inventory visibility service and it's configured with back office, on inventory visibility service side, most of the things are being taken care of. The only thing which you would need to enable is the advanced warehouse inventory feature. Soft reservation feature is optional. In case you have a soft reservation scenario and if you would like to leverage that capability, then you can also enable the soft reservation feature. But in order for commerce solution without soft reservation, you just need to enable this advanced warehouse inventory feature in inventory visibility service side. So now these are the basic setup which you need before you go ahead and configure inventory visibility service as a data source for Dynamics 365 Commerce. So here for Dynamics 365 Commerce, you can go into the retail and commerce module. And if you can go to the commerce shared parameters, under inventory tab, you will find these fields where it says use inventory visibility as inventory data source or inventory data provider, right? So this is the flag which you'll have to enable. What does this means is that every time when you do an inventory on hand check or adjust the inventory from using the CSU APIs, it goes ahead and look for the inventory in the inventory visibility service, not rather than the CSU database or not in the back office or anything like that. It will directly go and query the inventory from inventory visibility service. And as you can see, you have to run this 1110 global configuration jobs just to sync all of the settings to your CSU or channel database. The tenant ID, enter ID, and client secret is basically the same which you have used at the time of installing the inventory visibility service with the back office. So you will be basically using the same parameters here. The only additional thing you will have to do is you will have to put that client secret into the key vault, and then you will have to basically select that key vault to make it more secure. So it's a very simple setup. It's just enabling of flag and providing the right parameters, and you are all set for pointing your inventory data provider from back office directly to the inventory visibility service. So when you enable this feature, what happens behind the scene? So when you first integrate your back office with inventory visibility service, when you enable and configure that, it automatically create a data source called FNO. That's a reserved data source within inventory visibility service. But as soon as you enable this feature for commerce, it also creates a commerce data source in the inventory visibility service. And it also creates all the physical measures which you see on the left: arrived, deducted, on order, ordered. These are all the different physical measures we use out of the box to capture all sort of different inventory buckets. On top of that, we also automatically create the calculated measures. So available physical calculate, available order calculate, and all those things. So we will go through all of the definition of these calculated measures in a later presentation. UFA will cover based on the different scenarios which physical measures or which calculated measures are being used when you call the CSU APIs, and how you can get the accurate view of inventory. But this is all being taken care by the system. When you configure it, you don't have to set up anything. It will automatically create all the needed measures for you so that it can be leveraged for getting the on hand. So what are the different APIs available from the CSU standpoint? So as you can see, we have 3 APIs available to get the real-time inventory on hand information. So first one is get estimated availability. This API will get you the inventory for a product from a default warehouse. Another one is get estimated product warehouse availability. This will query the inventory for a product or a product variant from a specific warehouse. And then the third API which we have available from CSU is get dimension values with estimated availabilities. And this will query the inventory that are aggregated at the dimensions for a product or a specific channel's default warehouse or a warehouse that is linked to a channel's fulfillment group. So you have these 3 options depending on your scenarios from CSU. If you have any of these parameters available, then you can call either of these API from CSU. But what it does behind the scene is it will result into or call this API of inventory visibility service, which is on hand index query. And then it will take different parameters depending on which API you have used of 3. And then it will basically go and query the inventory visibility service and will return a response in terms of inventory on hand. In order to adjust the inventory on hand, meaning that you want to update the inventory or adjust the inventory, you will use the update product warehouse availabilities, right? So you can use this API to update inventory for products or product variants in a specific warehouse. And behind the scene, it will use on-hand bulk API, which is like a default API from IVS, right? So based on all the parameters you provide for update product warehouse availabilities, it will translate into the schema which is understood by on-hand bulk API and will basically update a specific on-hand quantity in specific in that commerce data source which we just saw on the previous screen, and it will update the specific measures, default measures which it has to update. So it all gets taken care by the system. You just have to provide the right set of parameters by using one of these APIs. Again, we have put a link here of all the setups and configuration and different APIs which are available, which you can use from your CSU. Now let's look at a short demo in terms of how point of sale solution is leveraging this CSU and CSU APIs in order to kind of get the inventory and update the inventory and things like that, right? So I'll play a video which is on the next slide.
Let's look at some in-store sales scenarios to see how inventory change is flowing through the system in real time. On the screen, I have two POS clients opened. Left side is a San Francisco store POS deployed in one CSU, and the right side is the Houston store POS hosted in another CSU. When I log into both POS clients and query the inventory of the product 0001, I can see both clients tell me consistent information, which is the product currently has 2 items physically available in the Houston store. Now I'm going to create a cash and carry transaction in the Houston store to sell 1 item of this product. Right after that, if I go to the San Francisco store POS on the left side to query the inventory of the product again, you will see the physical available quantity of the product is reduced and currently shows only 1 item left. Please note, at this moment, the Houston store transaction data still resides in the channel DB and has not yet been uploaded to HQ. So this latest inventory is actually retrieved from IVS behind the scene. Next, I'm going to create a custom order to sell this product and choose to ship from the Houston store. After order creation, if I query the inventory again from the San Francisco store POS in a different CSU, you will see the physical available quantity now becomes 0, and the physical reserved inventory is increased from 2 to 3. This increased quantity reflects the reservation for the newly created account.
Okay, so that was a small demo in terms of how you can leverage inventory visibility service as a data provider and different APIs which we have available through CSU in order to check the inventory or update the inventory. I will now hand it over to Yufe, who is going to talk through different use cases and different scenarios, and also talk in detail about different measures and calculated measures which are being used behind the scenes to give you more understanding. Yufe, over to you.
Thank you, Hiran. So I will introduce how you could leverage IVS for commerce orders. Plus, some customers may also have enabled the commerce call center orders from HQ. And then lastly, there might also be other cases that you can connect IVS all together with commerce call center orders, plus your third-party order channels. So this is a simple chart showing that how possibly everything like the commerce POS, like your in-store orders and call center sales orders, and then your, for example, your third-party e-commerce integration can all be pointing to inventory visibility service for the same source of inventory availability check and also inventory update. And just to clarify that some of you may already be familiar with that we have offered different APIs from inventory visibility service. And for the out-of-box integration between the call center, for example, between the sales orders in HQ or in Dynamics 3 SCM, then it is actually leveraging the soft reservation APIs, and the measures are being posted, the physical measures are being posted in this out-of-box integration is the F&O.soft reserved physical measure. And while for the Dynamics Commerce and Inventory Visibility Service integration, it is the on-hand change APIs that are being leveraged in IVS. And I usually call that the inventory adjustment APIs. And as shown by Hiren previously, even if it's a different API that is being used, there's still different. There's still a list of the physical measures that are out of box created, including commerce reserved. So that means you're able to reserve inventory from commerce even by leveraging these APIs. But the inventory adjustment APIs and the software reservation APIs, they actually act very similar. The only difference is the software reservation APIs would do a hard block if some inventory quantities are below zero, while inventory adjustment API would allow you to still proceed if there is negative quantity. However, for commerce, because like there are cases that you would allow oversell, or if you don't want to allow oversell, there's a possibility that you can set up the inventory buffers on your commerce aspect so that basically those two APIs still like act the same. And then for the third-party system, the recommendation is actually you also leverage the software reservation API. Of course, you get more flexibility here because you will need to build the integration by yourself with your third-party system. But you can choose to either use the software reservation API or the inventory adjustment APIs as well. But if you are going to use the software reservation API, then the measure you would leverage would be the IV.soft reserve ordered measures, which I would also explain later. And just to add one more note, if you have call center orders, so basically this integration, the feature is to integrate from Dynamics SCM or HQ's sales orders to IVS. So it's not specific to call center. However, if it's a sales orders that are created by call center, then you can also leverage this this feature, which would instantly call to IVS. Or you have two options. It can either instantly post the software reservation to IVS, or you can add it to a batch queue, which would again post to IVS in about a minute time. And in order to do this, you would enable the inventory visibility integration with software reservation on sales order line feature. And another one is if you're using this capability in parallel with commerce, you need to make sure that this available to reserve calculated measure formula is updated and set up the same as your commerce dot available physical calculation measure, which I will also explain in detail. Next. Yep. So first of all, let's jump into the first scenario, which is you don't have let's say you don't have any third-party channels and you're not using the call center orders, then you're only using commerce to process your e-commerce or your POS orders, and you also have HQ as your back office. And then in this case, it is sufficient that you use the default configuration, for example, the default physical measures and calculated measures. On the right of the screen, you can see that these are the list of the out-of-box calculated measures and how their calculation are already configured. And all these calculated measures are already mapped to the commerce to whatever you see the inventory calculation that you see on commerce. For example, the inventory when you're querying the inventory lookup on commerce, the inventory aspect is showing as the available physical calculation. And when you create an order and reserve it, then it actually, you can see it's the commerce reserve physical calculated measure that is showing up on the screen that is mapped to the reserved inventory column that you saw in the previous demo. Okay, moving to the next one. And then the next scenario is, say if you're having you have your commerce orders as one of your order channels, and then you may also integrate with your third-party e-commerce channels as well. Plus, you have Dynamics 365 SCM or HQ being acted as your backend back office system. And in this case, because as mentioned previously, that your third-party e-commerce will post the soft reservation, the whatever ordered quantity into the soft reserved measures, that is IV.soft reserve ordered measures. That means to unify the inventory calculation, you need to modify your out-of-box commerce calculate measures and make sure that you include those soft reserve ordered quantities in your calculation. For example, the commerce available physical calculation needs to also deduct the IV.soft reserve orders, meaning deducting your third-party e-commerce reservations as well. And then similarly for the available ordered calculation, which is the total ordered quantity, it's the basically available ordered quantities are the available physical plus your ordered quantities. So which means you also need to deduct your third-party e-commerce soft reserved quantities. And the physical inventory won't be affected because it's physical inventory, not the soft reserved or reserved inventory. And then the reserved physical, of course, you need to add the IV.soft reserve ordered quantity as well to reflect the actual quantities that are being reserved across all your channels. And again, the ordered quantities won't be affected. And last one is the commerce on order calculation. So by default, it is set as equals to F&O on order plus commerce on order. And this depends. It really depends whether you need to modify this one or not. And it actually depends on which inventory state you set your soft reservation offset, for example, for your e-commerce orders. And if you once you create because you first do the soft reservation in IVS for your e-commerce orders, and then you may later create that orders in F&O or in Dynamics SCM HQ. And then if you set the soft reservation offset to the on order status, then in order to make sure the entire calculation is balanced and correctly reflecting your right inventory, even before or after the offset, then you would still need to add your soft reservation, this IVS soft reserve ordered quantity, into this commerce on order calculation if your soft reservation status is offset status is set on order. However, this list shows an example that the offset is set as at the hard reservation status in F&O. In that case, there's no need to modify this calculated measure. And please go to the next one. Thank you. So this is a step-by-step example showing how the measures, how leveraging all these calculated measures and by updating them to the correct one, how you could unify the inventory calculation, even if you're using both commerce and your third-party e-commerce as your order channels while you may posting your orders to Dynamics SCM later for both channels. So I will leverage the commerce available physical calculated measure as an example. And as you can see, I've already configured it as the same as the IVS IV dot available to a reserve calculated measure. This means both when your third-party e-commerce are querying IVS, they're actually querying the IVS available to reserve calculated measure, and while the Dynamics commerce is calculating is calling the commerce dot available physical measure. But since they're the same, then both the channels will be looking at the same inventory pool. So the initial on hand in this picture, you can see that the initial on hand of Dynamics SCM shows as 100 quantities. And the first step is, let's say that your e-commerce received a sales order that is asking for one quantity, and your e-commerce is posting a soft reservation request to IVS. And according to this calculation, that the F&O available physical would be 100, and we haven't done anything about the commerce posted quantity, so it would be 0. And then it would minus commerce reserve physical, which is also 0 because there's no order for now from commerce. And then we minus 1 as the as IV dot soft reserve ordered quantity because that is the one that is from third-party e-commerce. So now the available inventory is 99 at this date. And then secondly, there's another sales order placed from Dynamics Commerce and then asking for 2 quantities. And then if we do the same calculation following this formula, then it's 100 plus 0 minus 2 minus 1 equals to 97, which is also correct. And then if we, the third step would be that let's say the e-commerce actually synchronizes or creates the order to F&O and does the hard reservation. And the prerequisite here is we set the offset state to soft reservation to upon the hard reservation in SCM. Of course, as mentioned, it's possible for you to do that as the on order status as well. And so because it's set to hard reservation, and then once you create and then you proceed to hard reservation, then the offset will be triggered to IVS, and the calculation will be updated to, because it's already been hard reserved in F&O. So F&O available physical now is 99 quantities, and then plus 0 minus commerce reserve physical, which is still 2, and then minus 0 from IVS soft reserve ordered because that has already been offset back to 0. So the quantity is still correct even after offset. You can see it's 97. And then the last step is when you're actually creating your commerce orders into F&O, and also reserve that. Actually, whether you're created or reserve that, it would offset back to the correct measures within the commerce. So you'll be good for either steps. But taking after the hard reservation as an example, then the commerce reserve physical will also be offset back to 0. And then the total equation would be 97 plus 0 minus 0 minus 0 would be still 97. So as you can see, alongside the entire process, regardless of which step you're in, regardless of whether you have already created the orders in HQ or not, then you always, as long as you're querying IVS and making sure that your calculated measures are configured correctly, and then you're able to get the right inventory availability from IVS alongside the process. Okay, next, please. And the third scenario is if you also want to leverage the call center and you want to include call center orders in this picture, then that means you would need to update your commerce measures plus your IVS calculated measures, like all reflecting basically configured, all the same. So that means again, take the commerce available physical calculated measure as an example. So you've already deducted the IVS soft reserve ordered quantity to reflect your third-party systems orders or reservations. And then you need to add the F&O dot soft reserved quantity. Again, this is an out-of-box physical measure as long as you enable that soft reserve from F&O sales order line feature, and this is the default measure to use. You also need to deduct this quantity, this part of quantity into your calculation, from your calculation. Similarly, for the others like commerce available orders and commerce reserve physical, you need to update accordingly. Again, commerce on order calculation, you do that according to your offset status, how you set your offset status. Next one, please. And just to explain a little bit more of which calculated measures you should leverage when you're integrating with your third-party systems. So, so basically, they are, as mentioned on this picture, on this screenshot, you can see the third column says deduct reservation on physical measure. And actually this entire screen is taking, the screenshot was taken from the IVS configuration where you set up all the, for soft reservation, the soft reservation configuration where you can see you need to do the soft reservation mappings. And if you're not familiar with this, you can also go to our previous Tech Talk sessions. They're dedicated ones for soft reservation. And basically on this screen, you can set up the mappings of which measures and which calculated measures that you leverage for your, for example, external, which would be your third-party systems, and also which ones are for your F&O sales orders. And these should be default ones. And I would start from the first line. So let's say if you do not have any request of doing soft reservation or making calls to IVS for inventory update from your F&O sales orders, including your call center sales orders, then you only need to use the first calculated measures, that is the IVS dot available to reserve, and you click into it and you make sure you update that calculated measure the same as what I've just explained in the previous step. So the same as your commerce calculated measures. And then if you also have, for example, you want to leverage the soft reservation from F&O sales orders, then that means it is recommended that you leverage, you just need to modify the second calculated measure, which is the at IV at available to reserve. And even if you also have third-party soft reservations, you leverage this measure as well. So the second calculated measure, because it contains the default measures from F&O. And then you click into it and you modify them accordingly. Make sure that it's the same as your commerce measures so that they all point to the same inventory calculation pool. Yeah, that's basically explained. And the last one is that some expected behaviors by your order sync type from commerce, because in commerce, you have asynchronous mode and synchronous mode when you're creating the orders in F&O. For example, for most of the cash and carry orders, it would be asynchronous. And for some of the customers, they may enable, for example, for the customer orders, it can be synchronous as well. But you get your own choice to decide whether all of them needs to be asynchronous or some of them can be synchronous orders. But as for the integration with IVS part, when commerce and inventory visibility service integration is enabled, only the asynchronous orders are affected. That is because those orders won't be instantly created and posted to F&O, and then those inventory changes will be instantly updated to IVS. But if you have some of your orders chosen to be synchronous, that means these orders will instantly be created in F&O, and those order quantities created on commerce won't really be posted to IVS immediately because they are already created in F&O, and because there's this out-of-box batch sync job from F&O to IVS that would update IVS in 1 minute anyway. So it doesn't make too much sense to update to IVS and then offset in about a minute time. So it's just, this is the expected behavior. But if you really think that this 1 minute lag is not acceptable, then the recommendation actually is you switch to asynchronous mode for all your order sync types, and then you will see the immediate inventory update for all your commerce sales orders. Okay, I will hand over to Hiran for the.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Yofe.
Yeah.
I think that was we covered like all three scenarios and how you can basically configure different calculated measures to cater different scenarios. So thanks for that. So yeah, that's what we wanted to cover as part of today's Tech Talk. So in terms of resources, we have a lot of Microsoft Learn documentation around inventory visibility service, how to configure it, different scenarios like inventory adjustment, reservation, all kind of APIs, and all the setup and configuration you have to do for commerce and things like that. So you will find all the comprehensive documentation on the Microsoft Learn site. We shared previous tech talks as well as we will share this tech talk in the next couple of weeks, the recording as well as the presentation for this tech talk. So you can always refer this later and implement in your projects. We also have a Viva Engage channel. Please feel free to join this channel and provide your feedback, share your requirements, share your challenges in your projects, and product team uh, time to time monitor this feedback and also kind of provide guidance, but also it helps product team to shape the roadmap to add new features and capabilities. So it's a great means of getting uh, in communication with the product team. And as always, if you have any ideas, please create an idea on the experience.dynamics.com site, and as more and more votes gets added to that idea, product team will prioritize and try to incorporate that feature into the standard product itself. So these are different resources which you can leverage for uh, for this solution. I think that's it. I think we are end of our presentation. I think we have quite a few questions received in the chat. So let's go through and try to cover as much as possible. Uh, so the first question which we received was how to best integrate orders from third-party commerce site to soft reserve with IVS. So again, I think we mentioned earlier that we have a set of APIs available from inventory visibility service. So once you configure your back office, once you install the IVS and your SCM inventory on hand data is continuously syncing into inventory visibility service, then that becomes your true source of inventory. From three third-party commerce website, you will have to basically just call an API of IVS to either read inventory, update inventory, soft reserve inventory. We have all set of APIs available, and integrating the third-party commerce site to inventory visibility service is very straightforward. It's not a very complicated integration at all, and that's something we have covered in our previous tech talk as well. So I would highly encourage you to kind of look at some of those tech talks. And how you can leverage the soft reservation APIs and things like that. And soft reservation API has one more additional thing built into that is that it first check and do the validation whether we have enough available inventory or not. And if there is enough inventory available, then it will soft reserve that inventory and then return the reservation ID, which you can store into your through a third-party commerce site. And then when you sync that order into the FNO, you can carry along that the reservation ID, which will help further in terms of offsetting the inventory and things like that, right? So again, I would say like we have done a full tech talk on that soft reservation capability, which specifically covers this scenario. So I would highly encourage to look at that. The next question we have is there a way to get notified when inventory levels change, like pushing events to a webhook or endpoint instead of constantly polling the API? Yufe has already answered that you can leverage the inventory snapshot that IVS stores in Dataverse and build business events in Dataverse by yourself. So this is definitely a way where you can enable uh, the integration between IVS and Dataverse. This is also another feature which we have covered in previous Tech Talk. Uh, and once the data gets synced into Dataverse, then you can basically generate an event. But as you can see, any changes which are happening into inventory visibility service is basically happening through some or the other APIs, right? either it's soft reservation, whether it's adjustments. So you can build an API management kind of solution that every time you are making a changes to inventory visibility service, once it makes the changes, then you can trigger an event basically, and then either it can send an email or it can generate a message queue or something like that, and then you can feed that message to through email, through notification, or through any downstream systems or anything like that. So we have customers who have built solution like that, because every inventory change is happened through API, you exactly know when that change is happening, right? So once you make that change, then you basically at the same time make another call to IVS, get the latest information of inventory on hand, and generate an event from that API management. So you can build the API management kind of function as well if you don't want to replicate the data of IVS in memory cache into the dataverse, so that you will have like multiple kind of data storage points. If you want keep everything into the in memory cache of IVS, then you can build some kind of API management to trigger these events. How does IVS scales up or down? Is it automatic? Do we need to purchase add-ons? So IVS microservice will automatically scale up and down as the data grows in in-memory cache and as the data being stored across different partitions. So there is a partition concept in inventory visibility service. Partition is basically your site and warehouse and products and legal entity. Based on that, which we define the partition. So if your inventory data grows across different warehouses, it will automatically scale up and will basically give you the optimum performance when you query the inventory, when you update the inventory. You don't have to purchase any add-ons for scaling up the IVS. Do I need understand this correctly that a sales order in back office will only integrate to IVS if it is a commerce type transaction, retail store, or call center? I'm not sure if I understood this. Rob has answered that. That is not correct. The benefit of creating an order through the CSU is that it creates the adjustment or reservation in real time, and sales order created through FNO, that auto reserve inventory, will be synchronized with IVS within 1 minute, as there is a batch job that runs the replicate inventory changes into the FNO with the IVS. Okay, there was one more question. Think, can this support 650 stores on one CSU? There were capacity restriction in the past. I think Rob, you have answered that. The number of stores per CSU depends on the number of devices and volume transactions. So capacity restrictions are a conservative heuristic that is used to ensure that your stores have wiggle room for spikes in demand. Can CSU use these APIs to reserve inventory immediately when an item is added to a cart? Ideally, we would like to reduce available inventory as soon as someone has the item in the cart or transactions, or not wait for the checkout. So I think Rob has already answered that. All right. I think we have answered most of the questions. I see Rob has answered. Let's see this one. Can call center query IVS real time? Yufei, can you take that question?
Yes. So, as Rob says, it does not directly interact with IVS. But how does it work is once your call center orders are created, because it's a normal and it's standard sales order in F&O, and then that sales order interacts with IVS, leveraging the out-of-box functionalities. And if you want the call center directly to interact, then, for example, like querying IVS, then there's like basically some customization is required.
Okay. Is there a soft reservation call to CSU API? The CSU can automatically create the reservation or adjustment in IVS when the order is created. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I want to clarify on this one. So as again, Rob already answered that the CSU can automatically create reservation and adjustment in IVS when an order is created. You can take that as the like business concept wise. My take is it's still a soft reservation because it's not created in F&O yet. It doesn't really deduct physical inventory quantity in F&O. However, just to like clarify, it is leveraging the inventory adjustment API. It's not the actual soft reservation API that is leveraged in IVS, but that is just the backend APIs that's different. But from the business wise, I would say it's actually performing similar things comparing to if you're like soft reservation.
All right, I think we have answered all of the questions either through we have called it out here or we have responded in the chat. Rob, Yufei, do you see any questions which we have not covered?
I see there's one more, a further question asking about the regular sync between F&O to IVS. And like, because Rob explained there's this batch job runs every minute. And then there's a further question asking whether there's a plan to make this SCM to IVS sync for more real-time option. My answer is no, because the reason why we make that a batch job is also kind of it basically helps to improve or reduces the performance burden from SCM as well. So mostly, let's say, because most of your external, let's say, outbound inventory activities like reservations, deductions, or whatever, even if your like inventory adjustment changes, like up and down from your third-party systems, they can directly post to IVS, and that means there's no need for such activities to be able to sync real time when you later post them into F&O. There's no need for that kind of update to directly update IVS instantly because IVS already get that. Even before or after offset, IVS shows the correct quantity, so that part is fine. But let's say the only thing that may have like 1 minute lag is say if you directly receive some inventories from your F&O or your post your counting result in F&O. Yes, that might be some changes as well. But in our past practice, most of customers are able to tolerate that 1 minute latency because of this. And after all, it's a balance between F&O's performance and your business needs.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Yufei. I think we are almost at the time. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Your feedback is really essential. So please take a moment to complete this short survey. The recordings will be available on the Dynamics Tech Talk community site within 2 weeks. So this concludes our session. Once again, thank you and enjoy your rest of your day.